Hi, I'm Ivan from WebWash, and in this video, I'll show you how to use the Gutenberg WordPress editor in Drupal 8. Yes, you heard right, that wasn't a mistake. You can use the new block editor, which was released in WordPress 5 called Gutenberg, in Drupal 8. Now, the Gutenberg editor is written in React, so it's basically just JavaScript, and this is what makes it possible to integrate it with Drupal or any CMS really. Now, of course, it probably wasn't an easy lift and shift job. There was probably some integration work, but the fact that it is purely JavaScript, it makes this possible. Now, in this video, I'll show you how to install Gutenberg, how to configure it, and also how to use it. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. So before we begin, head over to drupal.org/project/Gutenberg and scroll all the way down and make sure you download and install the module. Now we're going to be using the dev version because it has all the latest and greatest functionality, and we won't be using the RC1. Now to download the module, simply open up your terminal. Using Composer, type in Composer require Drupal/Gutenberg, and because we want to download the latest dev release, enter in :1x-dev and give that a few minutes for Composer to do its thing. So jump back over to your Drupal site and then click on extend. And then if we search for Gutenberg, I always spell that wrong. Anyway, scroll down and then make sure you enable the Gutenberg editor. And later on in this video, we'll look at Gutenberg Cloud. But for now, just install Gutenberg editor. And then let's now configure the editor on the page content type. So to do that, just go to Structure, Content Types, and then click on the down arrow and then Edit. And then scroll all the way down and click on Gutenberg Experience, and then check Enable Gutenberg Experience. And then when you've selected the checkbox, you will see that you can configure which blocks are allowed in the editor. Now, this is referring to Gutenberg blocks, not Drupal blocks. So that's one thing to be aware of now. Now, the term blocks gets thrown around Drupal a lot, but this refers to Gutenberg blocks, not Drupal blocks. And so by default, you have access to all of the core blocks, but if you don't want to allow them, you can do so. You can just uncheck it. And then on the right, you have certain core embed blocks that are available, and then you can enable even more. And then scroll all the way down and then click on Save Content Type. And then if we go to Content, Add Content, and click on Basic Page, you can see a very different editor. So the first thing we'll do is let's save this page. So I'll call this test page 1 and then click on Save. And then if I go back in and edit it, now when you create content using the Gutenberg editor, you have to stop thinking of your content as just text and now treat your content as individual blocks. So every single paragraph will be an individual block, an image will be a block. Okay, and so if you were to click on this plus here, you can see all of the available blocks. Now, again, I'm not referring to Drupal blocks. These are Gutenberg blocks. So if you were to use a WordPress site right now with Gutenberg enabled, well, you would see very similar UI. Like I think this would look exactly the same. Of course, you wouldn't see this stuff on the right, but you would see this stuff here on the left. Oh, you might see this block stuff, but you won't see menu settings, URL aliases. This is a Drupalism. So if you click on the plus, you can see all of the available blocks. So you have common things such as paragraph, image, heading, quote, list, cover, file, video. You can even add in code, pre-formatted, pull quote. You can even add in layout elements such as a column, which is actually pretty powerful. And then you have your standard embeds, such as YouTube, Twitter, Vimeo. But then you can also embed Drupal blocks, which is actually pretty powerful because an editor could write a blog post and then embed some type of block in the middle of the blog post. I don't know what that could be. It could be some call to action or to promote some product or something if they're using Drupal commas and they have a content type called product. I don't know. There's a whole ton of stuff that an editor could do with that. So if we were to just start typing in content, okay? So if you were to just start typing in content, by default, it adds it into a paragraph block. And then here on the right, you can modify the block. Now, every block comes with its own set of configuration. So this paragraph block comes with text settings, so you can change the size. You can change the color if you want. Again, don't go overboard with this because I'm sure you will annoy a lot of users if you select a terrible combination. And then if we were to collapse all of that, you can even add in additional CSS classes. And then if you want to add in another block, and then if we were to hit enter and then type in slash, you can add a block simply by searching its name. So let's enter in image, for example. Now, one good thing that this module does is that it integrates with Drupal's file manage system. So if we were to upload an image, so let me just grab an image, and what I'll do is I'll grab one of these awesome Drupal 8 logos, and you can even click and drag, which is actually pretty cool. And then you can see our logo here, and then here on the right, you can resize it, you can add in some alt text, you can even center it, and then you can set the link to as well. But if we were to add in another, so let me just delete that. And now let me just add in another image. But if you were to click on, say, media library, this allows you to select images which have already been uploaded. Now, this is kind of a mini media module or media functionality within Gutenberg, which is actually pretty cool. So we can embed this image, which I uploaded earlier, and then we can do whatever we want with it, which is pretty cool. Now, if you were to copy in a whole bunch of text, what would it look like? Would you have to reformat it and stuff like that? Well, no, you don't have to. So let me just show you a website that I use a lot in these videos. And it is called Hipster Ipsum. And so if we were to grab all of this text, copy it, let me move that out of the way. And then if I was just to paste it all, you will see that Gutenberg has pasted all the paragraphs correctly. So you don't have to worry about reformatting things. And then if you want to say break up this paragraph, you just put the cursor there and hit enter. And then if you want to move a paragraph around, you can do so, but sometimes it can be a bit fiddly until that blue line appears. But then you can select a whole bunch of paragraphs and then just move them up like so. Now let's just save this page. And if we click on save, you'll see that an error probably just quickly appeared, but for some reason it still saves. Now understand that this is still a work in progress, I guess. And then you can see our awesome Gutenberg created page. Well, it actually looks pretty terrible, but it does the job, okay? So if we go back in and edit the page, and if we scroll all the way down, we can add in say the media and text, for example. And then if we were to say select this image and then add in a bit of text here on the right, you can even reorder the image and the text so that the image is on the right. So it's pretty powerful. And then you can make it go full screen, I think. And then, another thing you can do is you can transfer certain blocks into other blocks. So let's say, for example, you created this media and text, and then you're like, well, actually, I don't want it to be a media and text. I would rather it be an image. So what you can do is you can transfer to an image. And then if we were to click on that, you can even transfer it to a gallery or a cover, which is pretty powerful. So let's just click on save. Again, you might see that error. Again, this module is a work in progress. Now, another thing I quickly want to show you is how to embed a block. So edit the page and then click on the plus and click on Drupal blocks. And what we will do is we'll add in this view, recent content list views. And then you can only see that. Does this work? No, it doesn't. That's fine. And then you can see only one test page has been added, which makes sense. And then if we were to save it, you can see that our view has been embedded, and then you can even go and edit the view, which is actually pretty cool. Okay, now let's look at reusable blocks, because you may have a situation where you want to create a whole bunch of reusable blocks for, say, a call to action, and you want to add it to multiple pages. How do you do that? Well, Gutenberg allows you to create reusable blocks. So let's edit this page and click on the plus. And what I'll do is I'll create a list block and I'll enter in Drupal, WordPress, Joomla. And then if you click on this more options and then click on add to reusable blocks, enter in a name. So we'll call it web CMS, and then click on save. And then if we go and save it, you can see our reusable block is simply a list block. Nothing fancy, okay? Nothing fancy. But now I'll show you how to reuse it in another page. So let me quickly open up another tab, go to add content, basic page, and then if you click on the plus, you should see a reusable section. And then here you can see all of your reusable blocks. So just click on Web CMS. And then if we were to call this test page 2 and then click on save, you can see that our list block is here. Now, if I was to edit this block, okay, now take note of this little message here. Update the block and the changes apply everywhere it's used, okay? This is very important because there's only ever one copy of a block. So if you were to make a change to a reusable block, it'll get updated everywhere it is used. So if we were to click on edit and then enter in React.js, now I know that's not a CMS, and then hit save, and then go back to our test page, we should see here React.js. And there it is. It automatically gets updated. Now you can convert a reusable block to a normal block. So if you were to click on more options, you can click on convert to regular block, and then you can do whatever you want with it. But understand that you have essentially overridden it. And then if you were to modify this reusable block, of course, this won't get updated because it has been converted to a regular block. So just be aware of that. Now, just another thing, let me open up another tab. If you want to see all of the available reusable blocks, then under content, click on reusable blocks here, and then you can see all of the blocks that are available. Now, one thing I've noticed is that you can't actually see where that block is used. Now, that will be a pretty cool feature. Anyway, from this page, you can see all of the reusable blocks. Now, another thing I want to just quickly mention before we move on to other things is what happens if you have custom fields? Because I have added this to the basic page. And if we go into structure, content types, manage fields on basic page, we only have a body field. So what does it look like if you have custom fields? So let's just quickly enable it on the article content type. So under Gutenberg Experience, enable Gutenberg Experience, and then click on Save Content Type. And then if we go to Content, Add Content, Article, you will see under More Settings that the custom fields get added here. So that's just one thing to be aware of. Now, I'm not sure how customizable this is, but it's there. And then if you were to, let me just give this a try. So if I was to modify the manage form display, So image, wait, which? So tags and image. So tags is up the top. So if I was to move image above tags, will it actually reorder it? Oh, it does. Okay, cool. Okay, so that works. If you are going to use Gutenberg on a content type with custom fields, well, you have to access the custom fields from more settings here. Okay, now let's look at Gutenberg Cloud. So if I quickly search for Gutenberg, I always spell this wrong, Gutenberg Cloud, and then click on here, or simply go to gutenbergcloud.org. This website allows you to share Gutenberg blocks across Drupal and WordPress. Essentially, it wants to allow you to share blocks across any type of platform that supports Gutenberg. So it is platform agnostic. Now, my understanding is that the team that actually developed the Gutenberg Drupal module also developed this website as well. That's why there's support for Drupal, because trust me, if a WordPress person developed this website, they wouldn't rush out to offer Drupal integration. So it's good to know that, yeah, the team that worked on the Gutenberg module also worked on this project. And then if you click on Browse Blocks, you can see all of the available blocks. Now, there's not that many, but it gives you an understanding of just how powerful Gutenberg is. So let's now add in this hero section to our site. So let me just close all of these tabs and then go to Extend and then search for Gutenberg again, and then check Gutenberg Cloud and then click on Install. And then under Configuration, go to Gutenberg Cloud Block Manager. Again, I'm not referring to Drupal blocks, these are Gutenberg blocks. And then here, you can see all of the available blocks. So let's just enable G Hero Section, because I know that is this one. And then just click on Save Configuration. And then if we go to Content, and let's edit test page 2. And then if I was to click on the plus, you'll see that there is a new section called Cloud Blocks. And then we have our hero section here. And then you can enter in and change the dummy text. You can do whatever you want with it. You can change it here. You can even change this button. And you can even change this image if you want. Ah, that Drupal logo is amazing. And then if we were to click on Save and then go back to the actual test page, you can see our block has been added. Now, one thing to be aware of is that when you enable one of these Gutenberg Cloud blocks, it doesn't actually download anything into your Drupal site. The block itself is all served over a CDN, because Gutenberg itself is just written in React. It's all just JavaScript. So if we were to view source, okay, this isn't that useful. It's all aggregated. Okay, give me just 1 second. Let me go to configuration, performance, and then uncheck these two options. So if I was to view source again, take 2, you can see that the CSS is getting added in this way through a CDN. Now, at this point, when you are viewing the rendered page, it only loads the CSS. If we were to edit the page and then go view page source, you can see that the CSS has been added. And if you scroll all the way down, you should find, yeah, here we go. Here is the actual JavaScript for the Gutenberg block is getting loaded up this way. Now, one thing to be aware of, and this is something you need to think of as a site builder and also a developer, is do you want to load up these type of JavaScript files from a CDN? Could pose a security risk, but these days everyone just loads up JavaScript and CSS through CDN. So I don't know, it's up to you, but just be aware of that nothing actually gets downloaded to the site. It is all served over a CDN. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about and discuss is how is this data actually stored in Drupal? Because straight away, that is the first question that I asked when I found out about this module. How is it actually stored in Drupal? Because I know in WordPress, everything is stored in a single body field, essentially. I think it's called post meta. Anyway, I'm not a WordPress expert, but that's how it's stored in there. So how is this actually stored in Drupal? Well, it's stored in a very similar fashion. So let me just open up my editor. So let me just bring it across and resize it so it fits nicely. And then if I search for node body and then click on, say, one of these, you can see that every single block is added to the body field. And then it is separated with this comment tag or something. So if we were to open this up as well, you can see that all of the paragraphs are added this way. Now, you may have a certain opinion about that it's either good or bad, I don't know, but that's how it's just stored. Now, another thing which I just want to cover off before finishing this video is, would I actually use this on a production site right now? If I was to set up a Drupal site tomorrow, would I actually use this? And the answer is, well, not at this point. I wouldn't commit to the Gutenberg Drupal module just yet because it's just too early. And also, if you use the module, you have to commit to it because you will be using it to create content. Just imagine you build a site tomorrow and then over the next year, you create 100 blog posts. And then a year from now, the module becomes unmaintained. Now, that may or may not happen, I don't know, but that is something you have to think of as a Drupal site builder. Will the module still be around? And if not, do I have the skills to actually maintain it myself? Because if you were to say, I don't know, spend a month building a Drupal site, handing it over to a client, and then a year from now, you have to tell them, oh, well, actually, we need to migrate all of your content outside of Gutenberg because the module is no longer maintained. Well, it's not going to look good and the client won't like it. So that's just something you have to be aware of. And if we go to the actual project page, so let me just bring it up, Drupal Gutenberg. So straight away, you can see that the last commit as of this recording was a day ago, which is great. It shows that progress is being made on the module, which is awesome. And then you can also see down here, you can see that the last commit also was on the 29th of March, and today's the 31st of March, which is awesome. But this kind of scares me. The fact that only 335 sites use this module, I'll just be very careful using this on a production site, especially if you don't have the skills to migrate out of it. Now, looking at the actual markup, I don't know, I think you could probably migrate out of this. You know that this content in a way is kind of structured in a weird way. You can see that, let's take this for example, okay? In this comment, you actually have, what is that, like a JSON object of attributes. And so you could migrate it out, but again, it's gonna be custom work and you're gonna have to write it yourself. So that's just one thing to be aware of. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to learn more about Drupal, well, head over to webwash.net where you can learn all about Drupal and hopefully other technologies in the future. We'll see. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you next time. Somebody should seriously count how many times I say the word Gutenberg in this video, because it's probably a lot. No, even better, turn it into a drinking game. Take a shot every single time I say Gutenberg. Well, I shouldn't actually really condone drinking, so don't drink, kids. It's bad for your health.